rate, please subscribe. Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to take a moment to address the chokehold that capitalism has on us, but in what I think could be some nuanced ways that may not feel as clearly pronounced as they actually are. So, in the last 2 days, there's been 2 responses to posts that I've put up that really enunciated for me ways that capitalism has embedded itself in spaces that I don't think folks may realize. So one was I put up a post about a story that needed to be corrected because I had done because an ex of mine did an interview where the interviewer, wanted to be messy and asked about our relationship, and he told mistruths in the story. And when I relayed the truth of the story, I included the fact that he had tried to extort me with revenge porn. I relayed the fact that he had done really denigrating things to me, etc. And within this story, I mentioned that there was a moment in time where I had gotten him a job and they actually paid the money to me, and he told me to hold on to it, but then he changed his mind. And then when he told me to hold on to it, but he changed his mind after I had stood up for myself when he denigrated me. And the reason I'm giving you the backstory is because the response to this from many people was, one, now mind you, I did end up giving him the money, but the response to this from many people was more concern about why I would date a man without a bank account and why I shouldn't have withheld the money he told me to hold on to because he changed his mind. And this was an example that I thought was really interesting to see how many women completely bypassed the abuse to focus on the money aspect. The failure of him to have a bank account and the failure of me to pay him timely when he decided to change his mind after I stopped him from denigrating myself. And what I want to talk about in this context is the way that capitalism blinded so many people from just basic empathy and compassion. And there's so often that I feel like we don't realize the ways in which we allow that to happen. I'm just going to block this or whoever this person is, because I think it's really important that we point out how money gets in the way of us being able to really just lead with heart on a regular basis, right? Like we so often, thank you, Wendigard, we so often can only see that aspect of things, even in I did not control his pay. I did not control his pay. Just for the record, because I see there's niggas in here that want to speak up for Boldy James. I did not control his pay. He lied to you, and I have the text to prove it. So I don't, I know y'all be liking to defend niggas because they represent you, right? Like the scam niggas be looking like you, so you feel good about, getting behind them because that's the type of you would do. But no, I did not control his pay. I literally posted the texts. He admitted in the texts that, he owed me the money. But that's beside the point. The point, he actually admitted in the interview that he owed me the money. But the point is, I was really surprised at how many women were able to see sisterhood. We're unable to see sisterhood. So I think it's important to point out how capitalism can like really stunt our ability to interact with each other in ways that really are our human side. Secondly, I posted a video that was saying that if I posted a video that had a bunch of construction workers, primarily Latino, that it was saying were being detained. And someone in the comments said, this is a good time for African American men to get into the field of construction. And I was really genuinely disgusted by that statement. And there were people who were in the comments saying, well, do you know how many African American men are kept out of the construction industry because of Latinos? And let's just say that that is true. This context is not a relevant time to address that. It is truly despicable to see an entire labeling of people, because it's not a community of people, because the concept of saying that these are the Latino community is really just a colonialist label, because ultimately these are people from all different nations that in some cases are from different indigenous backgrounds, different colonialist backgrounds. Like when you're in Mexico, you're not dealing with just Mexicans. That's a nationality that is imposed. But ultimately within there, you have Oaxacans, you have Mayans, you have mestizos, and I'm just naming the ones that I know, which is a very, very small amount. So the same way that we as Black Americans want to say we don't want to be considered a monolith, we cannot impose that upon other groups, particularly other oppressive groups. And I will even add that to all the people I'm seeing who simply see a white person with a Southern accent and say they voted for this. This is not an effective effort at trying to build resistance. Because one, it literally uses the same broad stroke brush that your oppressor does to divide and conquer and separate. Ultimately, you have to have a consciousness around your empathy. And so the three examples I just gave you are the ways in which your empathy is impeded by capitalism, by colonialism, okay? Because when I tell a story about how I've been extorted, about how I've been lied on, and how I've been stolen from, and the response is, well, you shouldn't have dated a nigga without a bank account, that is capitalism impeding your ability to see me as a person and to have curiosity about not only my feelings, but also what I may have been going through that would allow me to make decisions that weren't necessarily in my best interest. When we look at a large group of people that are being unjustly abducted and say, how can we capitalize off of this? That is capitalism impeding your empathy, impeding your ability to see with a clear mind, to see other human beings. And if you can't see them, you definitely can't see yourself. If you see white people going through struggle who you have no clue if they voted for Trump, and you simply just apply, well, they voted for this because they fit a stereotype, you have lost your empathy. You are being driven by the same oppressor. I will now open the floor for questions. Now, someone asked, how did I meet Boldy James? It's actually a really cute meet cute, if I'm being honest. I met him at an event at CAA at a museum. There was a hip hop event, and we saw each other across the room, and he had on a Detroit fitted, and I looked over. I was sitting with my homeboy who was also from Detroit, and I looked over, and he like started like mouthing to me like hello, and so then I started so we were like talking across the room, like reading each other's lips. Jordan. And in the midst of this, I realized, I recognize this person. And because he smiled. And I remembered that a few years back, I had went to South by Southwest, and I was backstage during, why is his name eluding me? Dope DJ, name a dope DJ, and he has a song with Kendrick that has a dope ass video. Why can't I remember this person's name? Anyway, I was backstage, and there was some MCs back there, and the what's it called? The cool kids are good friends of mine, and they were back there, so I said hi. K-Tronada! Thank you, Rachel. And so I was talking to the cool kids, and James was there. And I remember I was leaving, and when I was leaving, he smiled, and I was like, you have an amazing smile. Oh my gosh. Because, baby, I'm going to give you a compliment if you got a smile on. And so fast forward, when I was at the event, he smiled, and I was like, oh, I know that smile. And so then I was like, are you Boldy James? And he was like, yeah. And then I realized he was standing with Alchemist. And then he told me later that Alchemist was like, do you know who you're talking to right now? Because I know Al too. And then he came over, and he tried to talk to me. But he's very shy. And he tried to talk to me, and I was just like, I mean, what are we doing? And then he walked away, and then he said he got outside and realized he was playing himself, and he turned around and came back and said that his phone was dead, but would I take his Instagram? And so then I followed him on Instagram, and then when I got home later that night, he DM'd me, and so we were DMing, and he said he was 36, and he used the correct form of your and your. And so that's how we got on the phone. And then we went to brunch the next day. But, you know, that's how. So, any other questions? Thanks, GBach35. Someone named Stacy is being an antagonist. Do I need to block them? Hey, Anthony Polanco. Someone in here is being an antagonist. We don't got time for antagonists. Oh, better vibes. You gotta go. Stacy needed to go too. Someone says Stacy's in here acting up. I don't know who Stacy is, but they said that she's in here acting up. Well, Stacy, I don't know where you at, but you must have left. Do you think Canada can become its own nation? Do you think California can become its own nation? Can and will, I think, are two different things. Is it able to become its own nation? Economically, it could. But in order for a secession to happen, there's like a whole lot that has to take place. And I don't think people are willing to acknowledge just how right California is. Are y'all laughing at, oh, I'm scrolling back. Y'all laughing at the details? What are y'all laughing at? What details are y'all laughing at? So that's really, to me, what it would be about. It would be a matter of, how that would take place. California is an incredibly important part of the United States GDP. So, GNP. So there's that. Okay. Who are emerging indigenous artists you're vibing with right now? I don't know, to be quite honest. I'm not really vibing with any real artists right now. I'm liking Lil Sim's new album. I'm getting into Mick Jenkins, even though I'm late on that. And you know what? Kneecap is indigenous. There you go. I like Kneecap. But I wouldn't say that I'm up on the emerging indigenous artist scene. Your thoughts on general strikes, farmer strikes, and organizing within both the Black and Latinx communities coming from an Afro-Latina. Strikes is really, okay. Genuinely, I believe that there is a series of steps that's going to have to take place for people before people get to a level where they're willing to turn the F up in the way that would actually enact any level of change. I think that one of the main strikes that we need to enact is actually not simply just an economic strike, but a strike against your family and friends who are a part of the establishment that is harming people. Like, the concept of striking has to become more than just economic. It has to be a soul strike. And I don't think people are really understanding that what's taking place is being able to take place because we have become so disconnected from our souls and so disconnected from our empathy and so disconnected from humanity that we are no longer existing to protect it. That's what I meant by telling these 3 different examples. Like the fact that I told a story about a man sexually extorting me and grown women said, but you should have still given him his money. Like, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. So when I think about the concept of how capitalism has gotten in between us and our empathy and our souls, I'm not just saying that in terms of how we're looking at strangers. I'm saying that also in how we're looking at each other. There is no reason that members of ICE should be able to come home to their families and be like, well, I got this money for us. Ultimately, we're just not in that level of destitution yet. I don't believe it, because it's not like they're hiring houseless people. They're not. It's Shada Baby. The story is in my Instagram stories. on my Instagram page. It's a 15-minute story, and then it's very tearful. So I think that when we're talking about how we're reacting to this, one of the biggest things that we're missing is the way in which we can change how we react to this on a soul level. And I don't know that we've really had those discussions in like a real way. When we're talking about the ways that we react to this, we have to deploy and employ methods that are building upon that which we already know have been effective. Yes, strikes have been effective in the past. We're also dealing with technology that we've never dealt with before. So, it's like, how do we apply our knowledge to that? So the work that I'm trying to do and that I'm actively doing on myself is waking people's empathy up. So, for instance, there were people in my comments when I told the story about Boldy James and the ways in which he had lied about me that I wanted to set straight. There were people who were like, you shouldn't be sharing this. Like, this is, this is your personal business, et cetera, et cetera. And what people don't understand about someone like me is I learned a long time ago that, like, my life is lived for y'all. Like, my life is lived for me to synthesize into useful stories to advance humanity. Like, that's what it is. And I do it in art. I do it on the digital medium of things. I do it with writing. Like, that's the point. So any story that I tell is a lesson that either I've learned or am learning, or that one can learn from. So, like, for instance, that story was a story of how, like, your low self-esteem can lead you into situations with people who are not well for you, who are not good for you. It's also a story about how narcissism can become a cycle that's really difficult to get out of. It's also a story about how to stand up for yourself. You know, like those are some of the takeaways to take away from that. So if you don't take those away from that, it's because you have an impediment that you need to face in yourself. What kept me from being able to see those lessons, even if I didn't need them? What kept me from being able to see the value in other people getting those lessons? What made me say, I need to impede this person